Good morning, welcome to News on New Day. We come to you live from the John Hammond Street at Kanda here in Accra. My name is Judith Brown. Coming up this morning. Leadership of organized labor expected to meet the president on June 25 to discuss SSNIT matters and other issues labor raised on May Day. We'll explore the impact of the Affirmative Action Bill will have on gender equality in leadership when passed. Our former Napco trainees plead with Dr. Bamia to fulfill his promise of paying their 9 months arrears. Details of these and many more coming up shortly. Please do stay with us. We start with labor now, and President Akufo-Addo has invited organized labor for a meeting on Tuesday, June 25, 2024, following the Hands of Our Hotels demonstration and other matters raised by organized labor on May Day. Now, the meeting is expected to discuss the next steps in addressing the matter on the sale of the SSNIT hotels. Now, North Tongue Member of Parliament Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa disclosed this in an interview and indicated that he hopes the meeting will not be another theatric by the president to convince organized labor to back down against the sale of the SSNIT hotels. The president's invitation comes on the back of concerns raised by many, including organized labor, questioning the Social Security and National Insurance Trust decision to sell off 60% of its stake in Labadi Beach Hotel, Palm Beach Hotel, Ridge Royal Hotel and Buswa Beach Hotel to Agric Minister Brian Echampon. Meanwhile, Agric Minister, who is also the owner of Rock City Hotels, has denied allegations by Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa that his hotel made losses in the previous years. We'll stay on SSNIT now, and chairperson of the People's National Party has chastised members of the National Democratic Congress who took part in the Hands of Our Hotels demonstration. Janet Nabla says they lack the moral rights to protest the sale of SSNIT properties, as she claims the NDC also sold some SSNIT assets to party sympathizers under its regime. In this report, Christian Yali tells us the story of how Janet Nabla contends that the NDC, or the move by the NDC lawmakers, is hypocritical.
The 5-hour demonstration attracted hundreds of people who unanimously sounded a loud call for President Akufo-Addo to immediately halt the sale of 4 Social Security and National Insurance Trust assets to Rock City Hotel. The Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa-led Hands Off Our Hotels protest resonated with organized labor, as well as members of the minority in parliament. But barely a week after the demonstration, the rationale behind the move is being questioned. The chairperson of the People's National Party, PNP, Janet Nabla, says the main opposition, National Democratic Congress, and its members of parliament should be the last to raise concerns about the controversial sale of the SSNIT hotels. She contends that they lack the moral right to embark on that campaign.
PNP will object the sales of government property to individual hands. SSNIT properties, hotels were sold under the NDC regime. And I wanted to write on a placard, Operation Vote MPP and NDC out.
Wait, but they were sold.
And
were they sold to...
Do you know something? It doesn't matter. They were sold to sympathizers. It doesn't matter.
I see.
They were sold to their party sympathizers. And that is not how we should run a country. None of them who did the demonstration had a moral right to be there.
Although her party objects to the controversial deal, she argues that it is hypocritical for anyone from both the New Patriotic Party and the NDC to assume innocence in the sale of public properties.
We are here saying that MPP and NDC in this election 2024 should be voted out because they don't deserve Ghana's NDC.
With the organizers of the demonstration planning to extend the campaign to other regions, the man whose name has come under scrutiny, Brian Echampon, has denied claims by North Tongue MP Okudzeto-Ablakwa.
You are not making losses.
Well, Okudzeto
Yes. Rock City is not making losses. There is no one anywhere who can say that Rock City is making losses. I saw Okucheto and Samejemfi in the studio exaggerating. He was exaggerating that Rock City is making losses and that he has intercepted documents from GRA.
Amid the widespread opposition to the deal arises a defense, with the board chairman of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Freddie Blay, saying that SSNIT does not need any approval to sell off its stakes to companies.
You've given the management of SSNIT the funds that individuals contribute to put up. The SSNIT is supposed to invest, and when they are investing, they don't organize elections to ask for opinion from the board. Of course, there is a board. And so when you have a board of directors, they take a decision. The decision is binding.
The growing calls for transparency and accountability in the sale of SSNIT's hotel stakes highlight a broader demand for integrity in public asset management. Christianiale TV3 News.
Let's do some education now. The free SHS policy was introduced to alleviate financial burdens on parents while providing quality and accessible secondary education in Ghana. However, a recent report by Africa Education Watch, along with public concerns, suggests that this free education comes with hidden fees. There's more in this report.
It became the game changer for education in the country, giving opportunity for more children who hitherto could not have had the chance to go to school. The free SHS policy, a revolutionary step towards equitable education, has seen a remarkable 50% increase in the annual enrollment since its implementation in 2017. His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana and the pioneer of the Free SHS initiative during its launch in September 2017, highlighted its aim.
From this day on, we lift the financial burden of our parents and the heart-rending anxiety that accompanies the beginning of every school term. We have a sacred duty to our children and the generations beyond in ensuring that irrespective of their circumstances, their right to an education is preserved.
However, over the past 7 years of its implementation, there have been a myriad of challenges spanning from financial constraints to infrastructure deficits.
My problem is
with the day and boarding accommodation status. How can my ward be going to Accra Senior High School as a day student when he is staying at Kedi? The school nearby is a technical school, but my ward is a science student, and the other school is also a girls' school, and he's a boy, so I can't take him to a school closer. The African Education Watch conducted comprehensive research on the implications of the free senior high school policy, highlighting concerns about the policy's budget credibility.
The budget credibility simply is looking at how much government committed in the annual budget to the free senior high school program per what government actually have released at the end of the academic year. And once you have budget credibility declining, what it means is that it will affect the policy implementation, because if you project to spend X amount on a policy, which probably you feel is the ideal amount to be spent, but at the end of the year, you're able to spend only about half of the money. Clearly, there will be challenges, and we are not surprised that we are witnessing challenges like food challenges.
The senior program officer of the Africa Education Watch, Divine Pe, outlined some recommendations for consideration.
The wholesale application of the policy is not even financially sustainable. So to ensure financial sustainability of the policy, we strongly believe that there's a need to target the policy where it should have free resources for government to be able to effectively implement it. Parents that are actually in the lowest wealth quintiles that may have been having their household annual expenditure income averaging about 5,000 to 8,000 should be given the benefit to have their wards and move freely on the policy.
For some parents, the challenges encountered in taking their children to school every academic year is overwhelming. I have 2 children in SHS and I spend over 8,000 Ghana cedis in buying items for them. I plead on the president to reduce the prices for us so we can also take our children to school.
The free SHS was good when it started at first, but it's burdensome now. I spent over 8,000 Ghana cedis to take my ward to school.
The aspects have spoken, recommendations are made and concerns raised. Whether the incumbent government and successive governments will act on them remains to be seen. Safwa Bwahine, TV3 News, Accra.
Still in education, government's investment in education has come under scrutiny as schools in rural communities beg for attention. Stanley Niblo reports that at Kupo in the Sisala East municipality of the Upper West region, inadequate infrastructure is affecting teaching and learning.
Kumo is 3 hours drive from Tumu, the Sisala East municipal capital of the Upper West region. Basic social amenities are non-existent. Population growth prompted the Sisala East Municipal Education Directorate to establish school there. However, teaching and learning are compromised because the school is confronted by a myriad of challenges. A key concern of the school is infrastructure. Classrooms serving part of the school were collapsed by a rainstorm 4 years ago and have since not been rehabilitated. The school now struggles with classrooms, forcing authorities to resort to multi-grade form of teaching. During the dry season, other classes are conducted under trees.
It was there since 2016, but it was during the rainy season that it unfortunately collapsed. So we've been appealing to the PTA and the SMC to actually come to our aid. The classes that were here, we would rather have to combine them with the rest of the students, and that would make the teaching more difficult.
During contact hours, pupils sit on the floor due to the absence of furniture. An electricity pole and pieces of log serve classes 1 and 2 pupils, but even that is assessed on first-come, first-served basis. Teachers find the situation troubling.
The KG1 people, KG1, KG2, they will sit on the log. The P1 and 2, they also sit here. The P1, they also sit at the middle. Then the P2 people, they will sit here. When it is time for them to write, they have to lie on their belly.
The municipal chief executive for Sisala East, Fuseni Yakubu Baton, admitted that the furniture situation is widely spread in the municipality, but steps are being taken to remedy the situation.
We have said that anytime we are now building a school, it must go with a set of furniture. So we are actually looking at the possible way of reducing, because we can't completely eradicate it for now, because it's a long-term thing. Then I will also use this opportunity to appeal to our schools that the few that are there, let's try and see how we can maintain them.
The Kumo school is captured as a beneficiary of the school feeding program, but food is not prepared for the pupils. Some of the pupils have stopped schooling as a result.
Especially the lower levels. A lot of them, food is a kind of a motivation for them to come to school. So once there's no food, they are not able to stay up to 12 o'clock, past 12. Once it's 12 o'clock, you see that they were hungry, and a lot of them will start dodging back to the village to eat. That's the problem. It has really affected the enrollment.
Kumo is not the only school facing this challenge. The Meti Primary School in the Wa West District is also battling with infrastructure challenges. Teaching and learning are conducted under thatch-roofed sheds, often disrupted by rain in the rainy season. A community-initiated classroom project is in use, even though it is not completed. Teachers are concerned.
The learning environment, it has really reduced our enrollment in the sense that children especially want attractive things. So schools that are nearby where they can see a very nice building, they prefer going there. So really, we not having structures, it has affected enrollment.
The challenges that Kumo and Meti basic schools face cut across the region and other parts of the country, bringing to the fore questions about the government's investment in education. Rural schools will better be positioned to compete with their counterparts in the cities if the government provides adequate resources to improve teaching and learning outcomes. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Kumo, Upper West Region.
To some other stories, the Affirmative Action Bill, which has been in Parliament for about a decade, is likely to be passed at least before the dissolution of the 8th Parliament. Now, the much-awaited bill is supposed to ensure gender equality in all spheres of life, particularly in leadership and decision-making. Evelyn Tingma in this report finds out if the passage of the bill will be the panacea for solving the gender inequality gap in Ghana.
Globally, women continue to trail men in education, economic opportunity and political leadership. The 2021 Global Gender Gap Index indicates that Ghana is doing worse than most countries in advancing towards gender equality, ranking the country 117th out of 156 countries and 23rd in sub-Saharan Africa. While women outnumber men in the service sector, according to the Ghana Statistical Service 2021 census report, they are underrepresented at management levels. Among 275 parliamentarians, only 40, representing 14.6%, are women. Among 6,000 assembly members across the country, only 216, representing 3.6%, are women. But a long-awaited affirmative action bill, which calls for a progressive increase in women's active participation in the public bureaucracy to achieve parity by 2020, is yet to be passed. The bill, when passed into law, is expected to promote democracy, inclusion, and good governance at all levels of governance and decision-making in the country. Governments will be required to ensure equitable gender representation at all levels.
We are not only talking about parliament, we are talking about public service, we are talking about the military, we are talking about security, and we're also talking about the judiciary.
With the little policies, knowledge and everything, if we pass it into law, there will be some level of compulsion.
But the question is, could this be the panacea to solving gender inequality in Ghana?
It is an effort. We are not going to achieve that at a go. It's going to facilitate the process of achieving gender equity and equality.
We still have people living with those traditional and cultural beliefs. There are still communities where a woman goes in and a woman is not welcome. There are still families where when a woman is within that time of the month, the woman is not allowed to cook. I don't know whether Parliament is going to amend that 1992 constitution to probably bring in the quota system. But if that is not going to happen, then we're going to need political parties to do their best to ensure that this law is, well implemented.
While some are skeptical about its effectiveness if passed, former Gender Minister Nana Oyebanfu-Addo thinks otherwise.
If you are recruiting 10 people into the army, by the affirmative action law, 4 of them should be women. If you are recruiting civil servants into the civil service, for every 10 civil servants you recruit, 4 must be women. So you look at it over the years, how it will now translate into more women in the civil service, more female judges, more women in public service. The Affirmative Action Act is a sure way of increasing the numbers of women, the numbers of persons with disability participating in government at the highest level. When the law is passed, it will not depend on political parties and all that.
Others say it may not entirely solve the situation, but could improve the current state.
It is not completely what is going to take off the gender inequalities, but it will go a long way to promote or work towards parity. There are also a lot that had to be done, a lot of advocacy. Some advocacy has been made, but I think we still need some furthermore advocacy. The advocacy shouldn't be done at the apex, but it should be at the base, so that some cultures that have affected a lot of women or ladies for a long time will be addressed.
Well, the hope is that the bill, when passed, at least in every 10 recruitments, 4 should be women, and this is expected to help bridge the gender inequality gap to meet the SDG Goal 5 target. Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News, Accra.
To one of our headline stories now, and former trainees of government's youth program called Nation Builders Corps, Napco, are pleading with the MPP flag bearer and Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to fulfill his promise of paying their 9 months arrears. Now, according to the trainees, Dr. Bawumia, during his campaign tour of the Volta region on 2nd June 2024, promised to take action on the payment of the arrears, giving them an assurance of a better life. They say the current economic hardship in the country under the government has worsened their plight, making life unbearable for them. Napco was introduced by the government to temporarily address graduate unemployment, officially end Thursday, September 1, 2022. Now, the trainees say that they are awaiting for a favorable response from the Vice President regarding the arrears. That's how I wrap up the 6 a.m. news right here on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. We'll go for a short break. We'll be back with the rest of New Day. Good morning.